Jim Monaghan, Chris Swendeman, we're back with the 2 minute drill, which is probably going to run overtime, but hey, our show, our rules.
Exactly.
We're going to start with one of the biggest stories of the past week, and that would be Bill Belichick going to the University of North Carolina. I don't think either one of us had Belichick going to college football on our bingo cards, Chris.
I definitely did not have that on my bingo card whatsoever. I had a few teams picked out that I thought he would go to. Mainly, I thought the Giants because, you know, who says you can't go home again? Bon Jovi said it, so it must be true. Um, but when I look at it, if you think about Belichick and the way he's done things over the years, he's always done it his way and what he wanted. And this kind of fits the course for him. Just when you think you have him figured out, when you think you have the answers, he changes the questions. So, you know what? This seems to be what he really wanted to do. And good for him. You know what? He's not concerned about the victories and he wants to do what makes him happy. And that's coaching and winning.
The NFL victory record, that is what he said to Pat McAfee the other day. He said, I'm not worried about wins. I want to win championships. That's what he cares about. I'm not sure how much I believe that. He's, 14 away from tying Don Shula for the all
Yep.
time wins in the NFL, 15 from breaking that record. But here's the thing that was in the back of my head. He's 72 years old. Andy Reid is right behind him. So Belichick, you figure he's two mediocre seasons in the NFL. You figure 8 wins a season, right?
Right.
7, 8 wins. He's two mediocre seasons away from catching Shula and surpassing him. But Reed, with what's Reed's number? Just under 300?
297 to be
Okay.
exact.
Andy's only 66 years old. He's
Right.
around for a while, and he has Mahomes, and he's going to
Right.
surpass both of them very quickly, I think. So I have a feeling that that was part of Belichick's decision. Yeah, I'll have the record for a while, but Reed's coming.
Yeah, I think he's just said, you know what, it would be nice to have it, but does now mostly he would probably go to a team that needs to rebuild. That's going to take a year or two. Build it the way he wants it. As Bill Parcells once famously said, he was going to want to shop for the groceries.
Hmm.
If you're going to make him cook, let him shop for the groceries. And that's going to take a few years. Does he really probably want to go through that at his age? Probably not.
One of the other sidebars to the story is that he is bringing Michael Lombardi with him. And Michael has a long history of working with NFL teams, whether it's the Browns or the Patriots. He also has some college experience. Now, granted, we're talking 40 years ago, but he's familiar at least with both. And with the way that the college game has changed, you saw Andrew Luck going to, what is it, Stanford as the
Yes.
general
Back to
manager.
his alma mater. Yep.
Right. And now you see Lombardi going as the GM
Right.
to UNC. The game has changed. College sports has changed dramatically in just the past couple of years with NIL money,
Yep.
name, image, likeness,
Mm-hmm.
and the transfer portal. It's not even remotely close to what it was just a few years ago. So this is going to be almost like running an NFL team.
Absolutely. I mean, look what Dion has done for the sport of college football. I mean, Dion came in right at a time when everything started to move and everything loosened up with the portal, with the transfer portal. And I mean, look at Colorado. They were a terrible program just a couple years ago. He's got them on ESPN almost weekly. I mean, the entire landscape has changed, and I think Belichick is smart enough to know, hey, you know what? I could probably do make some noise here. So that's what he's doing. Good for him.
So we will see what happens with that. And again, Bill Belichick going to UNC. There was talk that someone on his behalf had reached out to the Jets. Now, I don't know how true that is, and I don't think that those two could coexist with one another, but clearly, with you see what's happening with the Jets, they have to make some major moves, and that would include a new head coach, obviously the general manager. And I think if they're smart, they say, thank you, Aaron Rodgers, but it's time. Better a year too early, and I think we're already a year too late, but better early than late.
You're talking about a guy that's going to be 41 years old. It's not exactly who you rebuild your franchise around. They're not going with the youth movement right now. They're stuck with a bunch of Aaron's guys, mainly like the Devonte Adams of the world. But I just think if you want to ever get this right, you have to just blow it all up and start over. You took a great shot. You got a guy who was a proven winner. You brought him in, and it just didn't work for whatever reason. And I don't think and we've talked about this before. I don't think it was Salah at this point that was the problem.
No, no, it was not.
But you know what? Move on from your mistakes, lick your wounds, and hit the reset button. That's all you can do at this point.
Meanwhile, the other team that plays at MetLife Stadium, those fans are just, they're apoplectic at this point. Now they want everybody fired, according to the banner that flew over the stadium on Sunday. And obviously, that's not going to happen, but you can tell that this level of fan frustration has come to a boil.
I mean, they looked like a bantam team out there, against Baltimore this weekend. I mean, Baltimore just had their way with them and manhandled them. I mean, it was like watching. And just talking about college football, it looked like a pro team versus a high college team. I mean, they just have the Giants just don't. It's not even quarterback at this point, Jim. It's everything. Their defense, so, but their offense, everything, just there's nothing redeeming about this team. This is a much bigger project than just getting a top draft pick and getting one of the top QBs in the NFL draft. This needs a huge overhaul.
We turn to baseball. The Yankees, of course, lost out on the Soto sweepstakes. I still think that there's a major sigh of relief from Yankee Stadium. Pivot, well, plan B, at least part of it, was Devin Williams, who is a very, very solid reliever and could fill the closer role very nicely.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love this because now you move Luke Weaver, Luke Weaver down, and he's your seventh or eighth inning guy, and sets up Williams. I mean, this could be a really really good bullpen. You have a really proven closer in Devin Williams, where Holmes. I mean, he was locked down at certain points, but then he showed his flaws and the cracks in the armor last year, and you just didn't have that real trusted ninth inning option. Luke Weaver on fire towards the end of the season, but again, was not a proven closer. Devin Williams is the guy that every Yankee fan said you needed to get at the deadline last year. Well, Cashman got it done, and it's going to be very interesting to see how what he brings to the Yankees bullpen next season.
Let me run this idea past you. What about a team having two legit closers? And I'm not talking closer by committee here. I'm talking two legit closers. And here, I'll give you an example. Let's go with the Yankees 2024 lineup. Soto, Judge, Stanton. Let's say they come up in the seventh inning. All right. Now, there's a trend in baseball among some teams to bring your closer in then, because if you get them in the seventh, you might not have to face them in the ninth. You get that top level guy in that top level arm in your bullpen to come in, get them in the seventh, and you still have somebody in the wings waiting in the ninth inning. It's going to take somebody who can handle a bullpen well. I don't think just any team could go out and do this, but I think with the right manager and the right two arms, I think this might work.
I absolutely think it could work. I mean, you've seen, they call them setup guys, but you've seen where there are guys, legit setup men who have gone to other places and became closers. And if they could have worked on the same team, I think guys like the term closer. I think it gives them a little bit more, feeds their ego a little bit, maybe I want to say. But if you could get the right two guys to pair up, I think I'm absolutely with you on that. I think it would be a great option, for the team and for the team's bullpen.
Last week, when we had the Soto signing, we were thinking like the doors are going to open up. We'll get more signings going along, but still, Bregman unsigned, Alonso still unsigned, Bellinger still unsigned, Christian Walker still unsigned, and those are just a handful of them.
Right.
How surprised are you that there haven't been more moves by now?
I am a little surprised. I thought the Soto domino effect would start right away, and you would just see all these players getting scooped up. But it seems to be the trend, though, Jim. Don't you think? Like, you're very big on watching and getting deep into the weeds on the winter meetings. Haven't you seen this trend for the last couple of years that other than like maybe the big fish, it seems like teams sit back a while and see maybe, it's a game of chicken a little bit. Like, who wants to sign first and get what they can to ensure they get their contract and their money versus the guys that are just going to wait it out until the very last minute. Like last year, JD Martinez, when did he sign? In spring training? I mean, there
Yeah.
were guys waiting it out. This seems to be like nobody seems to be in a rush lately. And I don't know whether it's the players, the management, or a combination of both that seem to be much more patient than in years past. This seems to be like a year two trend now.
Well, that we'll see what develops with guys like those and more as we go into the coming weeks. You're getting down to the wire on the NFL season as well. And that's the 2 minute drill this week with me, Jim Monaghan, and Chris Swendeman. Thanks, Chris. We'll talk again next week.
You got it, Jim. See you then.